All right, got some goodies in. Well, if you've been keeping up with my build here, this is an exhaust header off my Banshee ZX7R, street bike powered Banshee. And you know, this exhaust system, it was originally a Yoshimura 4 and a 2 and a 1. And you know, it started off as a stock exhaust that ran underneath the bike. So what we had to do was, a good friend of mine, we had to come up with a plan on how to run this so it doesn't interfere with bumps and stuff like that, get smashed up underneath the ATV. So we came up with this design, and this has been on the bike for about 5 years now. And you know what, the welds look shoddy, so please don't comment on that. I know it's been rewelded quite a few times, and it was a tough job to do. If I was going to redo this again, I'd definitely TIG weld it. But long story short, it just got back from the ceramic coater. So 5 years ago, we put this on and we designed this exhaust on my ZX7R Banshee. And I said to myself, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna powder coat it, ceramic coat it, or chrome it, or do anything like that until I know for sure it's not gonna need any welding or fabricating from, you know, cracks. Or for instance, sometimes you might come up with an exhaust system and say, hey, this looks great. You put it on your ATV and you're like, oh no, you know, it's too close to my foot, or it's too close to this electrical line. Or, you know, for one case here, you see this where I had to pin this in. It was hitting the tie rod, so I had to tap this in so I can get some clearance, not ground clearance, so that the tie rod wouldn't hit here. You know, then after that, I ended up going with I went with the Lone Star plus 2 wider plus 1 forward. And then it was really, that wouldn't have been necessary. Anyways, instead of popping that out, I left it there for extra clearance just in case, you know, hitting some big bumps. But now it's perfectly fine. So another example would be, you put it on there and you may have not made a mount, like this one, to mount it to a different part of the ATV for extra support on the header. Or you make a mount, and then you got to remember, the engine flexes one way, the frame might flex a different way. Now, the ZX7R engine is a stressed member, so it's made to tie a frame together. So, lucky for me, you know, the engine's pretty rigid. It was designed like that just so it was made to tie the frame together. So, anyways, you know, you may say to yourself, I don't like the way it looks. You know, I want it over here or over there. So I wanted to make sure I got all that stuff out of the way. You know, all the, you know, problems it has as far as, like, you know, not looking right, you know, being in the way of my foot, this, that, and this. But anyways, 5 years of testing and tuning, and it's perfect. Like I said, it's perfect. So I just got that back from the ceramic coater. This is jet hot coated. So I couldn't get it chromed. I took it out to a chromer's, and all the chromers kept saying that they wouldn't touch it because it was a used exhaust system. Therefore, there's carbon in there, and it would contaminate their tanks. So I said, okay, that's fine. I says, you know, what's my other option? And sure enough, it was ceramic coating. So in short, this is it. It's done. I've got a bunch of other parts that actually are being chromed right now. And the turnaround time's 8 to 10 weeks, and it's been about 4. So let's hope, I got my fingers crossed, it's going to be no more than 10 weeks. But just to show you what this looks like, let's see. Here's the super trap. I've got the baffles out and everything, but this is stainless steel. He just ended up giving that a quick polish. There's my diffuser cap, gave that a polish. So this basically runs like this. See, that's going to connect there. And that's that. So in short, basically, I'll make another vid of it when it's mounted onto the Banshee. Like so. So that vid will be coming up. But right now I've got to work on a couple things beside the Banshee. Worked on my kid's Polaris Outlaw, street bike powered Outlaw. I'm going to be working at it today. So anyways, there's my headers. It's not the prettiest looking, but it definitely does the job. It's a modified Yoshimura 4 and a 2 and a 1. Good horsepower gains. When I designed this exhaust, for all you guys out there building these street bike ATVs, when I designed it, I didn't make many changes. I only added a few pieces, you know. And then what I did was, if you look at these sections, they're all equal length. You know, this one might be a little slightly off, but what I was trying to do was keep, you know, Yoshimura, they spent countless of hours, countless dollars coming up with the exhaust system that would flow right, make good horsepower, and have good scavenging. So I didn't want to change any of that stuff. So all I did was just change the direction of the flow to the left instead of going underneath. And I just added these small sections, and that was it. But it's still a Yoshimura 4 and a 2 and a 1. So it flows really well and it sounds really good. And get good power gains out of it. So, you know, when you do this, you want to make sure, you know, if you have access to TIG welder, great. But, you know, we would tack weld this thing. When we were coming up with this design, we would tack weld everything in place. And then we would take it off. And then, you know, this was like 5 years ago. I can weld a little bit better now. But then I would weld it. And then all of a sudden I said, dang, you know, the heat, when you weld something, even after you tack weld it, if you're too aggressive with your welding, everything moves. See these sections? All these sections will move. And then when you go to put it back on your ATV, nothing fits. And you're saying to yourself, what in the world? You know, it was dead on. Well, that's just how it goes. When you start welding, it pulls it together. Pulls it to the left, pulls it to the right. So that was another learning curve. So, like I said, these welds aren't the prettiest. They look worse on video, but they actually don't look too bad in real life. And they're going to be all covered up and full of mud anyways. So, but mainly the ceramic coatings is to keep, it's for corrosion. And it's got a nice little look to it, you know. But, so these are things you need to remember, you know. When you take it off, it's best to use a TIG welder. And if I ever had to do this again, I would just do this again. And I would just have somebody TIG weld it. To maybe tack it in place and you have them run a TIG welder. And, you know, I've heard these guys can weld underwater, where they submerge, you know, this section underwater, then they throw their weld. That way nothing moves, you know, nothing warps, and the water keeps it cool. But anyways, just want to give you a quick update on my Banshee exhaust, the Banshee ZX7R exhaust. So this part's pretty much done. It's been working out really well. So I've been thrashing and trashing this thing, and nothing's ever cracked, nothing's giving me problems. The foot placement's good. You know, the additional mounted bracket mount is working great. And you can see I welded onto a really durable area. The bracket mount turned out really good. See how it's solid. But anyways, that's that. Just want to share with you what's going on. The Banshee ZX7R, making progress. It's the name of the game, is making progress. Alrighty, well, Banshee Fever 750 over and out. Feel free to answer any questions. If you're going to make fun of my welds, I can do without it. Anyways, Banshee Fever 750 over and out.